Hi everyone, this is Alan Rosinski of Metro Manhattan Office Space. You have all heard the cliche about death and taxes, that there's no getting around death and taxes. That may be true, but in the case of commercial real estate taxes for tenants, there may be a way to get around them. And that's what I would like to discuss this evening, because that can become a major expense over a long-term lease. Now, let me explain the way commercial real estate taxes affect commercial tenants in New York City. By commercial tenants, tenants of office, retail, medical, showroom space. Typically, every lease has an escalation clause. And the way the escalations are calculated, usually a percentage increase, which is typically 3%, plus a tenant's proportionate share of real estate tax increases over base year. Now, base year, the concept of base year is important. So let's say you lease 1,000 square foot space in a 100,000 square foot building, and you're in the building a year, and during the first year, the landlord's paying whatever tax there is on the building, and let's say that real estate tax on the building goes up $100,000, and you have 1% of the building. You're going to be responsible for paying $1,000 of that tax. And if it goes up further in the third year, you're responsible for that. And every year, there's a calculation, and it's determined if the tax goes up, you're responsible for that share. And this can add up considerably. If you sign a 10-year lease, that's 9 instances, 9 escalations where you can be affected by real estate tax increase. 5-year lease, it's only 4 escalations. 3-year, it's 2. But this can be a curveball. This is something which is unpredictable because there's a third party involved, and there's no telling what that third party, which is the city of New York, or if you're outside of New York City, any municipality, whether or not they're going to be raising assessments on buildings and tax rates. Well, we all know municipalities have been hit hard by the pandemic, and they're hungry, and they have deficits. So there may be the temptation for New York City and other cities over the years to raise tax rates on commercial buildings. Now, personally, I think it would be kind of foolish, because if they did that, they would risk scaring businesses away. If New York City greatly increases commercial real estate taxes in New York City, what do you think is going to happen? Tenants are going to go to Connecticut, they're going to go to Jersey City, they're going to go to the suburbs, or they'll go outside of New York City. So, hopefully it's not a great risk, but you want to cover yourself. So this is what you can do to avoid the risk of liability for your share of commercial real estate tax increases. When you're negotiating for a space, you go to your broker and you say, hey, I want you to approach the landlord and say, Mr. Landlord or Mrs. Landlord, the market annual escalation is 2% now. Conditions are soft. There's economic weakness. And typically, you would want me to pay my proportionate share of real estate tax increases over a base year. So this is what I'm going to do, Mr. Landlord. We're going to offer you an additional percent. Let's say market is 2%. We're going to pay you 3%. So there's no commercial real estate tax increases, and this is one less thing you have to worry about. So I hope this is helping some business owner somewhere avoid a potential pitfall. I have a chart which appears right here, which is from 2017, which shows that property taxes in New York City account for 44% of the revenue of New York City. Also have a little chart here showing you the various revenue sources for the city of New York since 1929, the year the Great Depression started. So I hope this helps you understand how commercial real estate tax helps fund New York City and other cities and what your potential liability is. I hope this helps all tenants in New York City and tenants in other areas. If you have any questions, please feel free to tweet them to me. My Twitter handle is @Metro Manhattan. And of course, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until the next time, and have a nice evening.